Alright, so we're back again with another installment of 99 Ways That You're Most Certainly Gonna Die When the Crap Hits the Fan, so let's get to it. Alright, so in the first video I talked about how many a man is going to succumb to the hot dog flavored water in the crap hits the fan because for whatever reason they didn't want to put a little bit of money aside and get themselves a proper water filtration system, and they find themselves drinking straight water out of the toilet bowl because of course they have no fuel to boil water. Not that they probably knew that they had to boil the water anyways, because most people nowadays are simply inept when it comes to basic survival skills. Alright, now here's my philosophy on water. Man, water's for pussies, man. Now all you no testicle having Tinkerbells better get two things before the shit come hit the roof. One, AR-15 tricked out with at least $2,000 worth of modifications. Number two, some body armor. Them's gonna be your bartering tools. Use it properly and you can have all the water you want while sustaining minor injuries. Now if you're one of these sissified snowflake fancy boys worried about catching some disease by drinking the swamp water like a real man that's been prophesized by these scientific spacemen with all their theories and calculus about viruses, bacterial infections and whatnot, I got one piece of advice for you. Grow a pair of testicles and stop being such a tenderized, titty-twisted homo sapien, if you know what I'm saying. Y'all are too soft. Look, a dog can drink the water, bear can drink the water, deer can drink the water. You lollygagging metrosexual sissies won't drink anything that don't come out of some $500 fancy Brita water machine. Now I understand that this is a tall order for somebody who ain't right with God, so what I'm gonna suggest to you today is something real practical. I want you to go down to your local hardwood store and get you some pool shock. You take about 1 tablespoon of that pool shock, you mix that with about 4 gallons of water, you got yourself bleach. With that bleach, you take a couple tablespoons of that for each gallon of water, you're purified. So make no mistake about it, the All-American Prepper has your back with all the prepping advice you need. But I don't like you, I don't want you in my country, and god damn it, stay away from my daughter with all that Luciferian gangster rap music. I made her, she's mine. Now the next thing that is probably going to kill you is going to be starvation. Now if you have a $500 bug out bag and you don't have at least the equivalent in food storage within your home for a bug-in scenario, then my friend, your priorities are not in the right place. What I would strongly encourage you to do is put away some food that is going to last for a long period of time. I've done numerous videos on this channel where I talk about how to store rice in Mylar bags. It's going to last you at least 30 years. Put it away, never have to worry about it again. You can talk about freeze-dried foods, morale-boosting foods, things that taste good and also last for 25 plus years. Things such as honey, any sort of grain, any sort of flour, properly stored is going to last you a very, very long time. So you can do it on the cheap, or if you want to get a little bit more extravagant with your spending, you can look at things like Mountain House freeze-dried food. They have an excellent choice of 3, 5, and 7 day emergency food packages, which in my opinion are probably the most delicious emergency preparedness food you can buy. Personally, I would advise against stockpiling MREs. Number one, if you buy them, you're probably going to want to eat them, and when you have to eat them, you're probably going to regret buying them. Most MREs anyways simply don't taste that good. In addition, their shelf life varies between 5 to 10 years, which is really not a long time in terms of survival foods. So don't be that guy who's eating his dog in the first week of the apocalypse. It's not necessary. Put some money into food storage. Now don't listen to Professor Prepper here. What you need are MREs. They're made for the military. Even though it ain't that comfortable and might taste like cat turds, you can bet if it's made by the army, it's better than anything that could ever hit the civilian communist market whatsoever. So you take your darn mountain man house or whatever the hell it is and shove it up your freeze-dried ass. Now, the next thing that's going to get people killed is that even if you do have food storage... Actually, let me backtrack again here. One of the first things that's going to get people killed is essentially that you're not of the preparedness mindset. You're simply not a prepper. In this age of abundance that we live in, you chose to not put aside some simple provisions which might see you through a crappy situation or the total irreconcilable breakdown of society as we know it. You chose instead to frivolously blow your money on the materialistic pursuit of happiness with your rims and your nice fancy shoes and your exotic restaurants, and here you are now trying to scrape up crumbs in the farthest crevasses of your giant mansion on the hill, which you cannot heat because it's too damn big. Now here's the next thing that's probably going to kill you when the crap hits the fan, and it's going to be the cold. Most people don't realize that in the better part of North America, it gets incredibly cold in the wintertime. And if you don't have a way to heat your home in those conditions, be it by propane, by kerosene, by a wood stove, then you are greatly at risk of dying from the #1 killer in survival scenarios, and that is exposure. What I would encourage you to do, if you don't have a fireplace in your home, I would encourage you absolutely to get yourself a wood stove. Put aside some propane provisions. Get yourself a bloody Mr. Heater. Probably one of the best portable heating systems that you can utilize. And the great thing about propane is that you can store it for a long period of time and it's still going to work. The same thing with kerosene. Although kerosene is a little bit more messy, it is much less volatile. Doesn't matter how much fancy survival gear you have, if your fingers are frozen to the frickin' bone and you don't have the dexterity to use it, it doesn't matter worth a dime. Now the All-American Prepper is going to give you scumbag sinners a few more pieces of advice about how to stay warm when the crap come hits the roof. Now, many thousand years ago, when a white man came to the United States of America, the Native Americans, what they did was they would find them some buffalo, cut them up, eat them up, wear their fur. That's what you need. You just got to find one of the millions of buffalo still roaming free to this day. Go get one of them suckers, make yourself a teepee, make yourself some hides, some skins. All you got to do is pump some 50 cal into that bison, put him out of the misery of his naturally beautiful existence. And you'll be toasted warm, but probably still irradiated in the post-collapse nuclear winter. Remember, every creation by God except man is the devil. Put them out of their misery.
The buffalo populations, which once numbered in the tens of millions, have been reduced to a mere 200,000 nearly 200 years ago when some European settlers sought to exploit the buffalo for their hides.
What are you talking about, extinct? I seen them on this documentary I watched, dancing with the dogs, running with the wolves, something like that.
Dances with Wolves was actually a work of fiction.
Boy, you better shut your finger-licking, city-slicking pie hole before I come over there and fill it full of Maverick 88. Now, getting back on track here, even if you are a prepper and you put aside food provisions, the #1 thing that people lack in the modern day is self-discipline, delayed gratification, the ability to ration your resources. It's absolutely essential that you ration your resources because you absolutely never know when the power is going to come back on. It might be 2 weeks, or it might be 2 months, or it might be 2 years, or it might be never again. So it is absolutely imperative that if you find yourself in a situation where the lights go out, you don't know what's going on, your electronics are fried, maybe it's electromagnetic pulse, maybe it's a large-scale pandemic scenario or something like that, you must get into the mindset of help is not coming for a very, very long time, and only use the bare minimum amount of resources that you need to stay vital enough to keep your brain functioning optimally and to be physically capable of doing simple tasks. Now, the fat that you have on your body is going to see you through some dark times. If you can join that with some nutrients and you make sure that you're getting your daily requirements for those to allow your body to be able to efficiently metabolize that fat that's on your body that you've stored for the very purpose of surviving a famine that we speak of. Now, this is absolutely not an excuse to justify obesity. Go to your doctor and tell him, hey man, I've decided I'm going to stay overweight because the apocalypse might come. I can guarantee you that your doctor is going to be referring you to see another doctor, and it's going to be a doctor who deals with things that are going on up here, if you know what I'm saying. So don't use it as an excuse. Yes, it's okay to have a moderate amount of body fat, but fitness is absolutely number one. Go back to my original video that I talked about that. I do videos all the time about fitness. I got the Mad Max workout. Go and check out the Mad Max workout. Make that a staple part of your weekly routine. Now, I'll be damned if you ain't in here flapping your gums once again, trying to preach about fitness. Listen here. Cardiovascular exercise is for communists. Now, Mr. Professor Prepper, I suggest you get with the times. You don't need fitness. That's why doctors and guns were invented. I can tell you right now with absolute certainty that you boy band loving Barbie dolls, you ain't gonna run your mouth in the apocalypse. Now, the best piece of advice my daddy ever done told was you want to try to make your woman as fat as humanly possible. Number one, you ain't gonna have to feed her when the apocalypse is coming down the road. And it's gonna prevent her from trying to run away. Now, I know you homo sapiens don't gotta use your brains anymore because you're darn smart microprocessors and doodads and whatnots. But let me come tell you this. When the electromagnetic pulse come done fry your ass like a chicken, so you gonna come around begging me for food? I'm gonna give you a good old kick in the ass. Now, the next thing that's going to be the end of many a man in the post-collapse environment is going to be bugging out when you should have bugged in, or even bugging in when you should have bugged out. You zigged when you should have zagged. A lot of people are going to find themselves aimless and vulnerable after the point of no return, especially if you have no bug out location. Now, what I mean by the point of no return, let's say you have a full tank of gas. Once you drive away from your home and you've burned over a half tank of gas, you are essentially at the point of no return. So it's absolutely crucial that you have a location in mind. Don't just bug out into the wilderness. That's probably going to get you killed. That's fantasy prepper stuff, which has been long since debunked in the preparedness world. What you want to do is have a location, a destination in mind, and be prepared to defend it when you get there. Because if situation is so bad, if we're talking about a global disaster, no rule of law, there's going to be people competing for the land and resources that remain, and you are going to have to take authority and self-defense into your own hands. Now, here's my opinion on bug out locations. Now, they're kind of like women. Sure, it's nice to have one. You know, they cook, they clean the house, they make the children, they get the job done, if you know what I'm saying. But by and large, they're a pain in the ass. So what I recommend you do is you make your home your bug out location. What you want to do is get as far away from the technological advances of civilization as you possibly can. Your kids are going to be sad because they get pulled out of school and away from your friends. Your entire family is going to be wondering what the hell you thinking, and the government and the FBI is probably going to start investigating your ass. But at the end of the day, when the smoke clears and 99% of the population been turned into some ravenous cannibals, you're going to be able to say, "I told you so," to yourself, because you're going to be the only one left. If you live in an urban environment, the number one thing you should do is find a suitable bug out location. That doesn't mean you need to go and buy land necessarily, although that would be ideal. Get yourself a nice cottage on the river, something like that. Obviously that would be ideal, but not everybody can afford to do that. In the very least, have a destination in mind for you to retreat to. And when you do eventually bug out, you need to practice sensory discipline, meaning you need to control the fire that you're using to make sure it can't be seen from long distances. The smoke is going to be seen and smelt. Scent discipline, cooking different types of food is going to perhaps attract the wrong kind of attention. Making a lot of noise in the post-apocalyptic wilderness is going to be like ringing the dinner bell for every cannibal within earshot. If you find yourself hunting deer with a rifle in the collapse, you're basically ringing the dinner bell for everybody within a 10-mile radius, especially a large bore rifle. So do yourself a favor, get yourself a crossbow or a compound bow or a recurve bow. I've reviewed many of these on the channel. I've reviewed the Apollo tactical bow setup. I've reviewed the SAS takedown bow. I've reviewed the Excalibur Axiom crossbow. These are 3 great ways to stealthily procure food in the wilderness. Don't rely on firearms for hunting. That's going to be probably one of the biggest mistakes you make. If you can, get some traps. Learn how to trap, snare. That's not going to make any noise at all. But if you have to go the route of actively taking wildlife in real time, use a silent method like a bow. Now, most people nowadays don't have the street smarts in order to survive the collapse of society as we know it. Most people with their pampered little existence don't know how to read people. Their instincts on human social engagements have totally atrophied over the past 20, 30, 40, 50 years of modern civilization. We don't have those animalistic instincts needed in order to smell out an ambush like we used to. So I guarantee you, in the first couple weeks of total grid down, disaster, lack of rule of law, you're going to see so many people getting hustled, getting murdered because they were too trusting, or they applied the same rules when society was up to when society collapsed. There's going to be a lot of people who, even though they might have the best intentions in mind, they may have goodwill. They project that onto their fellow man. They think, oh, they're just here to help, or they're just needing my support. And lo and behold, you find yourself in the middle of an ambush. Now, I'm not trying to fearmonger and put everybody on edge that everybody in a collapse scenario is going to be out to get you. Not at all. I think the majority of people are probably just going to be genuinely in need of help, or there to offer their support to you. But that doesn't mean you can't be vigilant under those conditions. You must understand that people are going to use bait. People are going to use your goodwill against you, as many con men do today in order to bait their victims. They exploit a weakness that most modern people have, and it's also a great strength that people have, but in the context we're talking about here, it's definitely a weakness to be the good Samaritan. So be on the lookout, because there's going to be a lot of people who are trying to swindle you after the collapse of society as we know it. Why don't you come on down to the truck, get something to eat. I ain't gonna hurt you. Excuse me, sir, I'm just wondering, you happen to have directions to the great state of Canada? Yeah, I'm a bounty hunter. I'm searching for a transgendered Mexican. He's about 5'9". He's a colored fella. He says he's Canadian, but we all know he ain't. Now, any information you provide, we most certainly will take that into consideration before chopping you all up in little pieces and cooking you over a hot fire. Now, here's my strategy when the shit come hit the fan. You gotta start putting people down. Your life depends on it. Remember, in the Bible, God said, make sure you get your guns, your ammo, and you stockpile that stuff, and you put it in your bunker, and you don't let anybody inside. And anybody without a buzz cut probably works for a guy named George Soros, and you should put them out of their misery. That's what the Bible says. Now, I know this is just my interpretations of the words written down by some guy somewhere who said he got this words from some big voice in the sky somewhere. But it's a fact. The next thing that's probably going to kill you in the apocalypse is that you're going to be mauled by wild animals, probably a pack of wild dogs. A lot of people don't know, but in Detroit, there are roaming packs of dogs which literally attack people and eat them. That's how bad the situation has gotten there. So imagine, after the collapse of society as you know it, all of the zoos, all of the animals who are left astray, these dogs with a pack mentality are going to want to hunt. The next thing that's probably going to get you killed is that you got trapped in a quarantine zone. This would be the absolute worst thing to have happen. Now, if this happens to you, it's important that you have proper pandemic preparedness planning. So what I mean by that is you have the essential gear to try to your very darndest not get sick if you're trapped in an area which is quarantined and you are under the gun of the military or martial law. Now, one product that a lot of people don't know about is Curad antiviral face masks. Now, it's the one product that's approved by the FDA to actually inactivate viruses when they come in contact with the mask. Most N95 masks, and those are a great substitute as well, and they're cheaper, but most of those masks don't actually kill the virus. So if you're wearing one of those masks and the virus comes in contact with the exterior of the mask, and then you take the mask off and some of those particles manage to make it into your airway, well, chances are you're probably going to get infected with the virus. Another great thing to have is an ample supply of nitrile gloves. Have some proper biohazard waste disposal bags that you can use to dispose of contaminated material, and make sure that it's easily identifiable to others, because the last thing you need is other people to get sick because of your negligence, thereby increasing the chance that you or your family members will get sick. Having some painter's plastic and some duct tape is going to be another good way to block out airborne particles from coming into various sections of your home, or if you need to make a quarantine zone within your home for somebody who's sick, that can also come in handy, or just for doing a makeshift full biohazard hazmat suit. I know most of y'all out there be done closet Democrats. You don't want to store food because somebody else is starving out there. Well, let me tell you this right now. When the shit come hit the roof, ain't gonna be no Democrats, no Republicans, or whoever the hell lies in between. There's only gonna be the dead and the living. And I can tell you right now, most of you snowflakes ain't gonna make it past the first 3 days. That's all I gotta say. Thanks for watching this bullshit channel. Don't forget to not like, don't subscribe to this communist, traitorous, treasonous, Canadian prepper, snake oil salesman, son of a bitch. You come down and watch the All-American Prepper on my channel, which is pretty much this channel. So yeah, subscribe to this channel. That's what I meant. I hope you guys found that useful. Stay tuned. We're going to keep doing these 99 ways to die in the apocalypse videos. Don't forget, you can show your support to the channel by getting yourself a bug out roll, or you can shop through the Amazon links in the description. Thanks for watching. Canadian Prepper out.